Thank you for being with us today on this beautiful day outside. My name is Kim Baker. I'm the president and CEO of Kentucky Performing Arts, and we're honored to host today's event. And just let me begin by thanking Senate President Robert Stivers, House Speaker David Osborne. We've got our Mayor Craig Greenberg, and our dedicated legislators and guests today. We're standing today outside of the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts in the heart of Main Street. We are surrounded by opportunity. Opportunities our community leaders here today recognize. This year, the Kentucky General Assembly supported our ask of this state-owned building by investing in critical backstage infrastructure necessary to ensure that the curtains continue to rise. You might be surprised to know that on this historic week of the 150th anniversary of the Kentucky Derby, it's also the 40th anniversary of the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts. And we have systems that are original to this building, so these upgrades were greatly needed for our continued operation. Our successes have always been tied to the city and Commonwealth. Our mission is to connect and inspire through the arts, and we do that through a broad range of programs, both inside and outside of our theaters. Inside our theaters, we bring thousands of people downtown annually. There are more events in a year than there are days of the year, and people come from every county in the Commonwealth, all 50 states, and several countries every year. And nearly 30% of the people that come here are from out of town. Now that's a great way to keep downtown active. But it's also a way to bring people together around a shared experience of arts and culture. And that's an investment in not only bricks and mortar, but an investment in the human condition. We are so excited to be a part of the investment and partnership occurring in downtown. And we know this would not be possible without the continued support from our state leadership. And I would like to take this moment to say a huge thank you to the Kentucky General Assembly and particularly the folks here today. Now, let's get this show started. With that, please join me in welcoming Representative Ken Fleming.
Good morning. I tell you what a fabulous day, and look at this crowd. These are the folks who are going to be benefiting from the investments and the times we spent in the General Assembly to make sure Louisville is lifted up to a better, higher level than we are right now. So I want to appreciate very much for everybody coming out and participating in this. You know, we just concluded a 2024 regular session 2 weeks ago with an extremely positive and productive 60-day session. We approved a responsible yet bold $128.4 billion budget, a $2.7 billion investment package that includes one-time funding to address both state opportunities and challenges, and several key initiatives aimed at making our Commonwealth the best place to live, work, and play. While the entire Commonwealth will benefit from our work, we accomplished with the Jefferson County legislators in the House and the Senate majority talked at least once, if not we talked 3 times today, in making sure that our voices, all voices, are here at the table. I want to especially thank Mayor Greenberg for his participating in all those conversations we have. I also want to thank Representative Susan Whitten, Emily Callaway, Gerald Bauman, John Hoskins, Kevin Bradshaw, but I want to single out 2 people that really led this charge for us, and that is House Majority Whip Representative Jason Emus and Senate Majority Caucus Chair Julie Rocky Adams for leading our mission, and Louisville is very blessed to have them in the leadership positions in Frankfort. Louisville is recognized as the economic engine of the Commonwealth, and as a result of being persistent and determined, we are fueling the engine by investing nearly $1.2 billion of historic funding for local initiatives with our eyes looking down the road by addressing Louisville's needs and opening the doors of taking advantage of those opportunities. This funding is going to organizations of all shapes and sizes, missions, and will benefit all Louisvillians of all walks of life. This historic investment is made possible by sound financial decisions starting in 2017 and continues our commitment to the community. As I mentioned earlier, Senator Adams was instrumental in this process, and now please join me in welcoming Senator Adams.
Ken mentioned during this process that we would all, the Jefferson County delegation, we would all talk about 3 times a day. He was wrong. We talked about 100 times a day, including text and emails and everything else, just to make sure that we had Louisville covered during our Frankfurt session. So thank you very much, Ken, for our introduction. I appreciate your friendship and collaboration between our chambers on behalf of our city. There's nobody that works harder for Louisville than Ken Fleming, so I can't say enough good things about him. But just as we did in the 22 biennial budget, the General Assembly recognizes that the economic foundation of the Commonwealth is the city of Louisville. And so we were so proud to make some of these transformational investments, and they were deliberate investments because we listened to what the mayor asked of us. We listened to what the Metro Council members asked of us, and so we were very deliberate in what we did. With 75 million visitors who have spent $8.9 billion in our state, many of those visitors come to Louisville to enjoy our signature horse racing at Churchill Downs, our growing, thriving bourbon industries, and one of our 2,000 restaurants in the metro area. It took me a little while to figure out that it's not just Fazoli's and Skyline Chili that I can go to. There's like 2,000 restaurants that I can go to. But we really do. I really can't say enough good things about our team. Each of us brings the unique perspective from our districts, and we all met at that public policy making table in order to make sure that each area of our community was satisfied. So as Ken said, we had over $1 billion invested in Louisville, and these are transformational investments that include infrastructure, transportation, and also a deep commitment to the human services, because Louisville has a unique take on what we have to accomplish with regard to our human services, and that did not go unnoticed and it did not go unfunded. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific than Ken was. I'm going to kind of give you a thumbnail sketch of some of the things that we funded. So we did $100 million to downtown Louisville projects, which include the Belvedere, Community Care Campus, Lou Med, Louisville Gardens, Downtown Vacant Lot, and Butchertown Sports District. Those are very exciting projects, and I look forward to the mayor working on those. $2.5 million for the Kentucky College of Arts and Design, $3.5 million for Louisville Metro for Shawnee Outdoor Learning Center, $3 million for Goodwill Industries for the West Louisville Opportunity Center, $1.25 for Louisville Metro Government to the Jefferson Memorial Forest, $1.5 for the Louisville Metro Government for Grand Lyric Theater, $5 million for Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, $2 million for the Louisville Botanical Gardens, $1 million for the Free Public Library at Fern Creek, $4 million for the Department for Community-Based Services for Harbor House, $2.5 to U of L Health Systems for cancer care, research, screening, and educational programs, $10 million for U of L to support construction, renovation, operations for the cybersecurity program, $10.6 to U of L for the Kentucky Manufacturing Extension Partnership, $900,000 for U of L for their rural dental outreach, $400,000 for the Kentucky Science Center, and in order to bridge that urban-rural divide, $4.3 million so that the Louisville Orchestra can continue to expand its operations around the state. And then we have the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center at $266 million. And so all of those, I think, are something to celebrate today. And so I think the person that we need to really, really thrive in his job and bring all of this to fruition is our mayor, Mayor Craig Greenberg. And I just want to tell you, it has been a breath of fresh air to work with this mayor. I mean, I've always been very bipartisan in how I approach public policy and my job in Frankfurt. And it's really nice when you have willing partners, and I can't say enough good things about it. I have such high hopes and high expectations for the city of Louisville because we've got a man who really rolls up his sleeves and gets ready to do the job every single day.
No pressure, Senator Rocky Adams. No pressure at all. Well, what a wonderful day as we kick off Derby 150 week to be here together to celebrate this amazing billion-plus-dollar investment in the city of Louisville. It is an honor to be here today with leaders of the Kentucky General Assembly, with folks representing amazing organizations all across our entire city. From west to east, south to north, every part of Louisville is going to benefit from these investments. And what this shows is that when we work together, we can get the job done. We are celebrating over $1 billion of investments right here in Louisville. Investments that will lay the foundation to move us forward in a new direction for our city, towards a safer, stronger, and healthier Louisville for everyone who lives here and everyone across our entire state. Because the leadership of the General Assembly and folks from across the entire state that are in the General Assembly are now agreeing that when you invest in Louisville, it's an investment in our entire state. So President Stivers, Speaker Osborne, to every member of the Kentucky General Assembly, thank you all so much. It has been wonderful working with you all. And it's been great that we are now here to celebrate that. A special thanks, of course, to Senator Rocky Adams and Representative Nemes. As you heard, we worked with very closely throughout the session. And let's not forget that these investments also had bipartisan support, working closely with Senator Neal and others as well. While their caucuses might not have the numbers, folks like Senator Neal have leadership. They've got experience, institutional knowledge, information about parts of our city that have been overlooked by our own city as well as the state for far too long. And I am so pleased that we are all able to come together and make these investments. So thank you all to every one of you, because all of your support is going to help every single person in Jefferson County. As you heard, the numbers are historic. Over $100 million to transform downtown, to make our city safer. We're going to make downtown a more thriving, vibrant, clean and green space, starting with right in front of us here, transforming concrete and grass of the Belvedere overlooking the Ohio River right in the heart of our central business district. Reimagine the Belvedere into a new destination, a new symbol for the future of our city, a new symbol of where we are right now and where we are headed. Help improve safety and the quality of the campus in LUMED. Bring back these vacant buildings that right now are downtown to convert them and bring more life on all of our street corners. As you heard Senator Rocky Adams also talk, improving the Butchertown Sports District around the soccer stadium, revitalizing the Louisville Gardens and make that into a thriving new place for this new film and production industry that is thriving throughout our entire city. And finally, downtown, to make the community care campus a reality in partnership with Volunteer of America to help provide more services and shelter for those individuals in our community that are most in need and are currently experiencing homeless. We can and we must and we will do better. You're soon going to hear from our amazing University of Louisville president about the historic $400+ million investment in the University of Louisville, which is a great partner to the state and to the city and is such a key part of our future. And all of those other projects that you heard Senator Rocky Adams list that are here with us today, that are across the entire community, also do so much in so many ways for every part of our city. We are going to continue partnering and continue to make all of these partnerships grow more. You also heard about things like the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center and what they do for our city in terms of this week we're celebrating the Kentucky Derby and the hundreds of thousands of people that are coming for the Derby Festival events and the historic 150th Kentucky Derby this week. But in the other 51 weeks of the year, we have this other amazing attraction that's bringing hundreds of thousands of people from around the country and world, and that is the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center, which is great for the entire state. So again, thank you so much to everyone in the Kentucky General Assembly. As you all know, for far too long, folks have talked about this urban-rural divide that has divided Louisville and the rest of the state. Well, those days are now behind us. Today is proof that those days are behind us. Working together, we have made sure that everyone in this city, everyone in Frankfort, and everyone around the entire state knows that we are working together. We may not agree on every issue. What we have shown this session is that's okay. There is so much common ground. There is so much that we do agree on. We all want to improve public safety. We all want to improve education. We all want everyone to have safe and affordable housing. So let's find those areas of common ground and work hard together. Let's get it done for the future of Louisville. Let's get it done for the future of our entire state. And I am very confident and very excited about the future because I know that today we are just getting started. We have started to build new relationships that are going to improve our city and our state so much. So I know you've got another session coming up. It's only 8 months or so away. Let's start working towards next session. The state is on a roll. Look forward to continue working together, to continue supporting Louisville, to continue supporting the rest of the state so that we truly move Louisville and Kentucky in a new directions. Thanks again to everyone in the General Assembly, and I look forward to working with all of our partner organizations to turn these investments into reality.
My name is Susan Witten, and I'm the state representative for the 31st House District. As many of you all may know, this is my first budget since being elected to the Kentucky House, and I could not be prouder to stand before you today to celebrate the investments that will, without a doubt, play a crucial role in fostering the city's growth, prosperity, and resilience. Louisville is our state's economic engine and a destination for those who travel here for our vibrant culture, historic significance, and educational opportunities. However, for those of us that are here, we just call Louisville home. The more than $1.186 billion included in House Bill 1, House Bill 6, and other measures will benefit local agencies and organizations with proven records of service. They include familiar names like the Hauser Hearing Institute, the Home of the Innocents, Harbor House, and the Louisville Free Public Library. And they also include an institution that has been educating Louisvillians, Kentuckians, and all Americans since 1798 as both a private and now public university. I am, of course, talking about the University of Louisville. This year's funding includes $375.6 million towards Asset Preservation Pool, Brandeis Immigration Law Clinic, the Center for Rural Education, the Cybersecurity Program, Health Sciences Center, Manufacturing Extension, the Pediatric Cancer Research, and the Rural Dental Outreach Program. Education is a major focal point of state investments in this community. After all, the university plays a major role in cultivating a skilled workforce, driving innovation, and attracting investments to the area. Furthermore, U of L plays a major role in our mission to expand access to quality health care. It is my pleasure to introduce Kim Schatzel, President of the University of Louisville, who will share more about what the funding means to the university. Dr. Schatzel is a familiar face to those in this community. She became the 19th president of the University of Louisville in February of 2023 and hit the ground running to lead a $1.6 billion university enterprise, which extends to include an affiliated $2.5 billion healthcare system. I appreciate President Schatzel's commitment to working with the Jefferson County delegation as we all share a goal of ensuring the success of the university. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Schatzel.
Thank you very much, Representative Witten. The 2024 legislative session was indeed historic for the University of Louisville, and we are so very grateful to the legislature and its leadership for their support. This session resulted in the greatest level of funding in U of L's 226-year history. And we are very well aware that this historic level of funding signifies great confidence in this university's impact as an anchor institution and a driver of economic prosperity for Louisville, our region, and all of Kentucky. We embrace that responsibility and know how very much U of L matters to this city and to the Commonwealth. Again, thank you very much for your confidence and for your support. This legislative budget calls for historic investment of U of L's capital and operating budget of, and I added it up to be $450 million. Presidential priority there. To support the realization of several major initiatives, all aimed at advancing the positive impact of U of L for years and years to come. Construction and cranes on campus, well, they warm a president's heart like nothing else, as they signal confidence in a very bright future for the university and the communities that we serve. Thanks to the legislature, we already have cranes on campus this spring, and we are all watching the much-needed new 100,000 square foot instruction and research building for our Speed School of Engineering take shape just off Eastern Parkway. This year's budget supports almost $300 million in investment to build a new Health Sciences Center simulation and collaboration hub right here in downtown in the LUMED district. This is the largest funding of a single project in U of L's history, and I cannot tell you how very much it is needed to support our health sciences faculty, staff, and students as they address a growing shortage of nurses and health professionals in our communities, as well as advance cutting-edge research to develop treatments and cures for cancer, cardiovascular, and neurological diseases. This signature building will house our School of Public Health and Information Sciences and will include state-of-the-art technology to support our schools of medicine and nursing. And most importantly, it will be a nexus of collaboration and partnership with neighboring colleges and medical facilities in the LUMED district, such as JCTC, U of L Health, and Norton Healthcare. This health sciences building, in my mind, marks an inflection point for U of L, our medical and educational partners, and the city of Louisville. It is the single largest project funded in Louisville this legislative session, and it marks a catalyst of growth and opportunity for the LUMED district. And we are confident, very confident, that LUMED will soon be recognized as one of the most advanced centers of medical research, treatment, and education in our country. I cannot thank our partners, the legislature and its leadership, the caucus, and Mayor Greenberg, yes, my partner, Mayor Greenberg, as well as the leadership of the chair, for all of their support to get this historic and transformational health sciences building realized. While our focus today is on the impact of Louisville, U of L is committed to the success and the prosperity of all of Kentucky. This budget includes $25 million to support the expansion of U of L Health's Brown Cancer Center to its South Hospital in Bullitt County, providing access to the latest research and high-quality cancer care for residents of Central and Western Kentucky, including access to some of the most advanced clinical trials in our country. Louisville is home to the second largest population of Cuban immigrants in the United States, outside of Miami. This year's budget includes $1.5 million to expand legal services from our Brandeis School of Law to help refugees and other immigrants successfully navigate their pathway to citizenship. U of L is partnering with Goodwill's West Louisville Opportunity Campus to deliver those much-needed services to our community. And finally, this year's legislative budget includes $10 million for the development and construction of a cybersecurity center, vital to the safety and security of our Commonwealth and our country. When completed, this facility will draw students and professionals to our community, and it will put Louisville and Kentucky on the map as a national leader in this emerging and incredibly important technology field. I am so very grateful to the Jefferson Caucus, Senate President Robert Stivers, House Speaker David Osborne, and of course, Mayor Greenberg and the Louisville Metro Council for their incredible support of U of L and higher education. I would also like to thank all the members of our community who worked so diligently over the past year and throughout the session to advocate for the university and this city and make clear to everyone in Frankfort how much impact those investments in U of L will bring to our city, to our region, and to all of Kentucky. U of L continues to grow on a national level as an educational and research powerhouse. This significant investment in the continued support of our elected leaders ensures this momentum will carry on and that U of L and the communities we serve will be taking towards a very, very bright future. Thank you, everyone, for your support. And remember, go Cards!
I'm State Representative Emily Calloway, and I'm honored to represent the state's 37th House District. And I work with a team of House and Senate members who recognize that the people of Louisville deserve a united voice to advocate for them. It's been said repeatedly today, but it's true. Louisville is the economic engine for the entire state. And when we talk about Louisville, of course we talk about the downtown districts and the growth on which our mayor and Louisville tourism has been focused, but our beautiful city has more to offer, especially along the outer edges of Jefferson County and Bullitt County. We have the gorgeous parks within the Louisville Loop, as well as the largest municipally owned urban forest in the nation, Jefferson Memorial Forest. This is close to my heart because this entire area is dedicated to local veterans, those men and women who have served our state and nation. It has been proven that well-maintained scenic parks are an important part of the community, and they attract new talent and businesses from out of state. Parks rank high in city selections by new ventures as they weigh their options for production or expansion. We have a gem right here in my district, about 15 minutes away, and we want to make sure that all 6,500 acres are appreciated and enjoyed, while maintaining Louisville's largest nature preserve, another role of the forest. From the 35 miles of gorgeous hiking trails to scenic Tom Wallace Lake, there is beauty and opportunity at our back door. I've already heard from constituents some fantastic ideas to improve our beautiful forest, including an archery post for national competitions and including the park within the Louisville Loop. We're currently seeing Tom Wallace Park upgrades, and there is so much more potential, especially with the $2.5 million in funding over the next 2 years that we worked hard to secure in this budget. This investment into a more nature-centric portion of our city complements the work being done downtown and is a great step in bringing Jefferson County and Metro Louisville together. So I cannot thank enough our leadership in Frankfort for including this important investment in House Bill 1. We are blessed with leadership and legislators such as Senator Mike Nemes, who saw the vision for economic and community development through investments like this and are willing to collaborate with our local leadership, such as Councilman Dan Syme and Mayor Greenberg, to make this happen. So I'm honored to work alongside them to ensure our Commonwealth is well-rounded, attractive, and thriving in innovative ways, which our people can see and appreciate. And of course, the Jefferson Memorial Project is just one example. The organizations receiving these funds range from large government agencies to smaller nonprofits. Some have been around for more than a century, others are comparatively newer. However, they all have a proven record of service to Louisville and Jefferson County. Now, it is a privilege for me to introduce the president and CEO of the Healing Place. He's the recipient of $1.8 million over the next 2 fiscal years.
President Stivers, Speaker Osborne, distinguished members of the Kentucky General Assembly, Mayor Greenberg, the sun shines brightest on this place that we call home when we all stand united, and I'm deeply grateful to be standing with you all today. And I want to say a special thanks to the taxpayers of the Commonwealth and to our state legislators for their stewardship of that tax revenue. The Healing Place is a nationally known nonprofit providing comprehensive addiction recovery services for up to 900 men and women on 3 campuses, including our main men's campus just a short distance from here on West Market, our women's campus at 15th and Hill in West Louisville, and another men's facility in Campbellsville. We serve veterans in recovery among a wide variety of other folks. Over the past 33 plus years, we've used an evidence-based, peer-driven, abstinence-based social model of recovery that's produced over 7,000 alumni. Our services are provided at no cost to our clients because we want there to be as few barriers as possible to recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. Our only requirement to participate in our programs is a desire to get sober. We take our stewardship of public resources most seriously, and we will use the taxpayer dollars entrusted to us to continue our programming and to increase our impact in our neighborhoods and our geographic areas in closest proximity to our facilities. Mayor, you know that our men's and women's campuses in Louisville are in what are known as overdose hotspots. And we'll be working to do all we can in those neighborhoods to seek out every single person in those neighborhoods and in our community suffering from addiction. Thanks again for trusting our organization with the appropriation, the biennial budget, and we look forward to sharing our progress in the months ahead.
The next individual we want to introduce is a big asset, not only from who he represents, but also he represents the whole Commonwealth. And we reside in his district, and it's a pleasure and honor to work with him day in and day out on many issues and many topics. And I want to please join us in welcoming Senator Gerald Neal.
Wow, isn't this exciting? Wow, for Louisville, it's big time. You know, I want to welcome President Stivers and the rest of the members of the General Assembly that I work with. Just came out of a very tough but fruitful session. I really appreciated the interaction, the camaraderie, and the collaboration that I think has made all of us feel a little better and produce a little more and stay a little focused on things we need to focus on. I also specifically want to applaud Mayor Greenberg, because Mayor Greenberg has brought some very, very significant leadership to Louisville, a perspective and a willingness to collaborate as well and to work with across the aisle, as I do, work with people that are focused on bringing about value to this area. So that's very important to me. It's very important to him, and I appreciate his leadership and his friendship. You know, I must tell you that as a leader of the Democrats in the General Assembly and the Senate, I must tell you that's a daunting task. And it becomes less daunting when those on the other side are willing to hear you, discuss with you, and actually agree to some things that I can agree to, and I think it's very important. So I have to say there's been some good things that I like, some bad things that developed, but I can't say that my interaction, particularly with this budget, I can't find too many bad spots related to that. It was a very pleasing interaction. I'm well versed in the legislative process and know from experience it takes a mix of willingness based on relationships and interests that often bring about good results. Louisville in District 33, and by the way, welcome everyone to Senate District 33. Come on. Senate District 33 has benefited from that dynamic. I encourage, with respect to the budget, that this continues, because as those standing with me here today know, there is much more to be done. It's important for our constituents to know that the vast majority of work that we do in the legislature is agreed upon. I know from that experience that the legislature has demonstrated the ability to make good decisions and to make bad decisions and mistakes. We all do. We are here today to talk about the good decisions, like the millions and millions of taxpayer dollars that are being returned to Louisville to be spent on projects and improvements in the city. But I would be remiss if I did not mention that there are some unanswered questions and implications with respect to the legislature regarding its relationship to Louisville in this past session. This will be addressed at a later time. But I'm here, and I'm sure you're all here to hear about the good decisions that were made, and some good decisions were made, and I promise there were several. As long as I have served in Frankfort, I have always focused on bringing to my constituents in my district, and that continued in this session, good value. I want to list just a few of the major items of Louisville and for the 33rd Senate District, and I, among others, worked for and were included in this budget. That $100 million for the revitalization of downtown Louisville, including the Belvedere, and be patient with me because I think it's worth mentioning. The Belvedere, the Community Care Campus, the LUMAD Campus, the Louisville Gardens, the downtown vacant lot revitalization, and the Butchertown Sports District was a home run. It was extraordinary. It was important. It was essential. The $4,300,000 to the Louisville Orchestra was amazing to me. It's important. It's important to the culture of the city. It's important to bringing folks in. It's important in elevating the city in the eyes of others. $7 million to support the Shawnee Outdoor Learning Center. I can't tell you how thrilled I was to see that come about. I advocated hard. Apparently, a lot of other people are advocating too. I must give some credit around the board. But it was a great thing to happen, and I can't wait to see that blossom. $3 million to the Goodwill Industries of Kentucky. If you haven't been down on 28th and Broadway, you need to go. It is phenomenal. The potential, you can see it just walking through it and understanding what has been brought to bear in that space. It's just extraordinary. So supporting that effort and working hard for that was very important. $1.5 million for the Grand Lyric Theater. You're probably wondering, what the heck is that? It's just something to show. But it's part of a larger complex that draws people in, that creates community, that provides educational opportunities. It's something that's going to be a real generating force in our community as it is now. But this takes it to another level. President Stivers, I really appreciate you opening your ears to that. You never faltered on that. I appreciate that. They appreciate that. $20 million to Kentucky Works. Do I have to say anything about that? The good work that they do? It's amazing. It's important. It's essential. $12 million to the Kentucky Center for Arts. I just want to tell you, I've got to give a little plug here. You know, Friday, we're going to take over almost all of this building and have an annual event here that raises funds for scholarships for students. So this being in this spot, this beautiful building in this spot, and our being able to utilize it in the way we do and to project that out into the community and to individuals' lives is extraordinary. So this is not just something on paper. It's not just numbers. $1 million for the Kentucky Center for the African American Heritage to support its operations. Extraordinary. And particularly the $60 million designated for asset preservation at Kentucky State University, plus the $5 million allocated for design work for the new health science education building, the $1,280,000 to support the teacher education initiative and public health initiatives at Simmons College, and as mentioned, the funds provided to the University of Louisville, my alma mater. I'm trying to tell you, it is extraordinary. I wake up every morning looking at these numbers, and I said, how did this happen? I did my part, but my God, it wasn't just my heavy lifting, or wasn't it? We'll see. As you know, there's much, much more, and I might add much, much more to do. I am more confident now than I have been in the past of the intentionality focused on Louisville and what it will mean to all of its residents going forward. These projects represent improvement, change, and opportunity for the families I represent. And I want to thank President Stivers and others. I must extend my hand also to our speaker, who's had a very willing ear, and he's provided excellent leadership in his role for working closely with me to deliver them. While I am pleased with much of what we are here to announce today, I also want to be clear to the public and to my colleagues gathered here. I look forward to continuing to work with you to make life better for my constituents and yours.
without a doubt, you're a big contributor to Louisville and its progress and where we're going, and thank you for your leadership in Frankfort as well as in Louisville. These next two gentlemen, I have to say, really helped set the course of the Commonwealth. And I tell you what, we always talk about how these two next gentlemen, we consider them as Louisvillians because they're always here, always contributing, always putting Louisvillians in the forethought of their mind in terms of funding and policy.
Well, thank you, Ken. After all the other speakers, I can't imagine that there's much left to say, but in true political form, I will do that. And I want to do it mainly to give credit where credit is due. And credit starts with this group of legislators over here who worked every single day, actually before the budget process even started, advocating day and night for the inclusion of funding opportunities in Louisville. So they were truly your voice in Frankfort this year. I also want to give thanks to President Stivers. President Stivers leads 38 in the Senate. I lead 100 in the House that all have, as you can imagine, divergent interest. And there's a little bit of territorialism that goes on, especially when it comes to budget times. But to have President Stivers, a colleague down the hall, that fully does understand the importance of Louisville as the economic and cultural engine of Kentucky. It makes our job a lot easier to sell opportunities like this. And most importantly, I want to represent the advocates, the stakeholders, those behind us, that presented your case to the legislature for why these were valuable investments. You know, I said throughout the leading up to the budget that, you know, we had a $5 billion roughly budget reserve, and I counted about $500 billion from at least 5 million people in request. But I challenged everyone that made those requests: make your argument, make your case, put facts behind it. And you did so. And not only did you do so, but you had advocates that worked tirelessly to carry your message in a reasoned and well thought out manner. Now, it's great, obviously, to be here acknowledging and celebrating over $1 billion in investment, but this didn't happen overnight. And I point to two things that were critically important to this process. The first started a little over a year ago, and that was after the 22 election. And we had a sense of cooperation that came from the city of Louisville, from Mayor Greenberg, from his administration, that quite frankly has not always been around. And Mayor, thank you. Thank you for taking your coat off and rolling your sleeves up and doing the work necessary to make things like this possible. Thank you for understanding the importance of building relationships. And I would say the same thing about our legislative delegation from Jefferson County that also came in with a renewed commitment to camaraderie, renewed commitment to unity, and gone were the days of territorialism within the city of Louisville and Jefferson County, everybody pulling in the same direction to make sure that good things happened for Kentucky. The second started 8 years ago, and that's policy. It was funny, I was talking to one of our members of the lobby corps as we walked in, talking about the crowd that was here today. It was great to see everybody. And I said, yeah, it's easy when you talking about $1 billion plus. It's easy to get a crowd to show up. And he said, yeah, you don't get those kind of crowds at your policy speeches. But the fact of the matter is, it's policy that makes things like this happen. And that commitment that we made 8 years ago, when this majority took the House of Representatives, making a commitment to make Kentucky a more competitive place, making Kentucky a better place to live and work, a better place to raise a family and build a business. And it's policies that have made Kentucky more competitive. It's policies that have made Kentucky safer. And it's policies that have made this budget possible. For 3 consecutive budgets, this legislative body has spent less money than we've taken in. That is not an easy thing to do. It is unprecedented in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And that was under a lot of pressure, a lot of cries of misery, a lot of accusations being made about our unwillingness to spend everything. I'll tell you what, we have spent decades, generations of legislatures spending it all and then promising more when they were unable to deliver. This legislative body over the last 8 years has made getting our financial house in order a priority, and a priority that allows us to make investments based on needs, not on wants, but investments in the Commonwealth, whether that be infrastructure, whether that be historic funding levels in education, or whether that means keeping our families and children together and safer as we move through. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot left to be done. And we are committed to do it. I know that this group is committed to doing it, and we look forward. Mayor, I will tell you, yes, we are 8 months away from session, but you will hear me say this no less than 400 times between now and the beginning of session. Robert Stivers will do the same. We will not open the budget in a non-budget session.
I'm the only person here that's not from Louisville today, I believe, except maybe David Osborne. But I'm Robert Stivers. I'm the Senate President. I want to thank everyone for coming out. But most importantly, I want to thank the people behind us who provide a lot of great services and opportunities for the state of Kentucky. I'm going to be somewhat like the speaker. I heard more from Mayor Greenberg in 1 year than I did from his predecessor in 12. And so it makes a big difference when that happens, to be able to work with someone and talk with them, even though you may not be philosophically aligned on the political spectrum, to come up and do things about their city, their area, and the economic engine for the state of Kentucky. I want to say also to my Senate colleagues, Mike Nemes and Julie Rocky Adams, always kind of chirping in my ear as to things we need to do, and many of them you've heard talked about, and I'm not going to talk about any of those because you've all heard them. Gerald Neal, who is the minority leader of the Democrat caucus, always working together again, even though we may be politically divergent on some issues, a lot of things we agree on, and I think it's evident by what you have seen here today. To my colleagues in the House, we have made a real effort about communicating between ourselves and communicating with all around the state, and therefore circling back to Mayor Greenberg and the individuals behind me to have a good line of communications, because that is what it's all about. Now, a lot of people are probably wondering, what does a guy from Manchester, Kentucky, Clay County, come to Louisville for this type of announcement? Well, first of all, it's economics. As you've heard everyone here talk about economics, you don't turn away from 18 to 19% of your population and your revenues that you take in to the state coffers. It's important. Secondly, this county, and many people are probably sick and tired of hearing me say this, has a mission well beyond the geographic confines of Jefferson County in education, in healthcare, in transportation, in tourism, in all types of the arts and humanities. I can tell you the State Fair and Exposition Center at the State Fair has 120 counties that it pre-sales tickets to. So that's an example of what goes on here. And to the president of the University of Louisville, students come here. People come here for their health care. And I also want you to notice this, President Schatzel. As you look over among all that group, I'm the only one that has my U of L pin on. Go Cards, hey. But that becomes the personal side of it, too. My father went here. My brother went here. I went here. Got our law degrees here. 2 of my daughters graduated here. And so I've spent a lot of time in Louisville and understand, I think, to a certain extent, as much as an outsider can, what the needs are here. And very differential because of the personal contacts and the economics and the services this community can provide us. So we're having a good day, and everything's been spoken about. I can't say enough for Speaker Osborne and his group about how we have been disciplined. But I can't say enough about the mayor and his willingness to work. Last thing I'm going to say is this. I come from a county that sometimes people don't write very well about. Talking about our poverty, talking about problems that we have. And you think about it, a lot of people have those problems and they have poverty. But what I'm asking this group behind me to do, and I think it shows the General Assembly's effort to do, is to bridge, Mayor, that rural-urban divide. I'm here today. I want to invite everybody in earshot, in front of me or behind me. Come visit with me. Bring your times and talents and your investment to Eastern Kentucky, because our state motto best says it. United we stand, divided we fall. Go Louisville, go Kentucky, and go Cards.
Rebecca? Yes, Mayor, I think speaking of the city budget last week, there's a $700,000 cut for the spot by Piano Works. Is there any money allocated to Kentucky Piano Works from the General Assembly budget that could help make that whole?
There is investment from both the city budget and significant in budget from the General Assembly budget as well. I believe you all invested $10 or $20 million. 20? Yeah. $20 million. General Assembly invested $20 million in Kentuckiana Works, and the city also has proposed a significant amount of funding in Kentuckiana Works as well, as we have additionally. Their investment is elevated from prior to 2 years ago in the spot and other important workforce development programs that Kentuckiana Development leads.
How did you all make sure that the funding is equally and equitably distributed across the city and across the county?
I guess ultimately I'm not really sure how you define equally and equitably because, as I said, our legislative delegation from Jefferson County this year had a really fresh perspective on approaching the budget, and that was to make unified requests on behalf of the city and organizations within the city. Most of those items were in unanimous agreement on the things that they advocated for, and they did so through a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of energy to make sure that they were all in agreement with those things to be able to make unified requests. You know, for years I have watched territorialism play to the detriment of the city of Louisville. I have seen certain areas fight with other areas within Louisville, and that was gone this year, and it was a great breath of fresh air to see that unified effort all pulling in the same direction.
If I could just add one other thing to what the speaker said, at least I can only speak from conversations, not from the General Assembly's decision making. But a lot of our conversation, you can see from the projects that were funded how spread out it is geographically, but also in terms of education, tourism, cultural organizations, as President Stivers was talking about, arts organizations, a wide diversity of types of projects that were funded, and also geography. You heard Representative Callaway talking about the investment in Jefferson Memorial Forest in the southern part of our city. In the west, you heard Senator Neal talking about so much. We talked a lot about downtown. Also the infrastructure. One of the things we haven't talked today is about the infrastructure investments that will benefit some of the fastest growing parts of our county in eastern Jefferson County and southeastern Jefferson County. And finally, so many of these investments also improve the lives of the entire city. Something we haven't spoken about yet, but which is something that I hope continues to get more and more funding in future years, is the General Assembly's commitment to Thrive by 5 Louisville, which is our new initiative to make universal pre-K and improve early childhood education for all 3- and 4-year-olds, for the kids and for their parents that need to re-enter the workforce. Senator Rocky Adams was a leading force to help to include that in the budget here that we're talking about today, and we want to leverage on that as both a workforce development initiative and an education initiative for all of our kids in Louisville and really across the entire state.
We have time for a couple more. Rebecca, I know you had your hand up. Yeah, where and when will Louisvillians start to see the impact of this $100 million to transform downtown Louisville? Where and when will we see that first?
I think the first place you'll see that is probably on the community care campus. Jennifer Hancock from Volunteers of America is here with us today. The city has partnered with that organization to start implementing that plan. And then the others, we are in the design phase now. LUMED has some plans underway for improving safety and infrastructure in the LUMED district. We're working on the Belvedere plans right now with a world-class urban design team that's going to transform this into an iconic new destination. So all of the projects are in different stages, but now that we know some funding is available, all of the teams involved in these projects are hard at work. And trust me, there's no one more impatient than me than to get shovels in the ground.
Okay, time for one more. Yes, sir.
Do you guys know how much is left in the state surplus? Or an estimate of how much is left in the budget?
The estimated amount, once we close out July 1, will be about $3.5 billion, which is still well above our historic averages. It still puts us amongst the top few states in the country and equates to about 60 days in operating budget in reserve.